Philip, question. What about factory in Canada? Or is that announced? Heard a boss from Big Mining saying they had Tesla down the road. A Dylan Loomis interview. Any thoughts there?
I think they've probably been talking to Canada. Canada makes sense for a lot of reasons, I think. But it sounds like the regulators or the legislators or whatever, it feels like Tesla might have gotten cold feet with Canada and decided on Mexico. So I don't know if Canada is still to be honest, I don't know if
Mm.
if it's still in the cards for Tesla to build a factory there anytime soon. What do you think, Farzad?
Yeah, I mean, I think that might still be in play only because there is, I believe, Toyota and Nissan or Honda. There are two automakers up in Canada that build cars today, and they do have proximity to to a lot of raw materials. I think it was in Quebec or Ontario, one of the two provinces. I forget which one,
Mhm.
but sort of that northern part of the continent has a ton of stuff for Tesla to utilize. So I don't think they're necessarily out of the question, but perhaps I do wonder how you know, what you just said about, well, they landed on Mexico and Canada was sort of the alternative, and they ended up going with Mexico anyway. But I think long term, Tesla's going to need facilities basically in every major country. If they really want to make 20 million cars per year in some capacity, 20 million cars per year, their energy, their bot, whatever else they decide to build,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
going to have a presence basically everywhere. Every other major, think about every major automaker and every major energy company. If you combine those two together, they basically have a presence on every major country on planet Earth. So I would expect Tesla to have something similar, maybe not a gigafactory in every country, but they'll have some sort of operation. That's how I think about it. So it could just be smaller scale.
Yeah, smaller scale. Maybe they'll buy some mining facility in Canada or something at some point.
That's right. Yeah, something like that. Let's bring in Tommy here, longtime supporter of the channel. Thank you so much, Tommy. Question: when, if ever, do you think we'll reach a cliff for financing insurance on ICE cars, on gas cars? In my opinion, it would be better to borrow money for buying crack or something. How do you think about that?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Tommy, because whenever I'm driving up the highway, you ever drive on the highway and you see all these freaking, like, you're in like car dealership city all of a sudden, and there's like all these car dealers and loads of cars on lots all along, and I'm like,
Yeah.
when are they going to sell all these ICE cars? I'm thinking, like, who's going to buy? Like, there's going to be a day where there's all these ICE cars are being built up on the sidelines and they can't sell them. And at that point, that cliff is going to happen, and no one's, it's going to be a disaster. So I think a lot of the
Yeah.
dealerships could be in big, the dealerships have, it's a fascinating business model they have, and regulatory capture and lobbying and all this stuff. But at some point, uh, the cards are going to come crashing down on them. It's a house of cards, I feel like. And I feel like the dealership model is in big trouble, unless they can pivot quickly to EVs sooner or later. But yeah, I think it's coming. This cliff is coming, whether it's 2 years from now or 5 years from now, I'm not sure, but it's coming. What do you think, Farzad?
I'm right there with you, man. I can't help but think, so we live in a part of the Austin metro area that's developing very quickly. And the
Yeah.
one thing I've noticed is that there is people throwing up new car dealerships. And I'm like, boy, is that a terrible investment.
Yeah.
Like that's what goes through my mind. I'm like, are you
Yeah.
sure you want to do that? Like,
I
are
always
you
think, how
like
can I short these
100?
car
Yeah.
dealerships? I'm always thinking that. But anyway, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's like my wife and I will like, actually, Cindy brought this up, producer wife brought this up when we're driving around, and there was like, new Mazda dealer coming in 2024, and she's like, why the hell are they doing that? And I was like, what? It's like, why are they building a Mazda dealership here? I'm like, wow, even like, and she's not like a psycho like you and I are, like thinking about this stuff constantly, freaking obsessed with this stuff. But she's just casually like, yeah, why this doesn't seem smart. If we're gonna go electric, why are they building a dealership here? I'm like, you're 100% right. I think
Yeah.
the thing I'm most concerned with is that the transition away from gas car is not going to be gradual. My gut's telling me that it's going to be sudden, and it's going to cause so much havoc and craziness in the market that it's going to be like analogous to 2008 when we had the financial crisis, where everything seemed okay, and then overnight it felt like everything just came down, and we're like, what the
Yeah.
hell just
It'll
happened,
be like
you know?
I think it'll be a miniature version of that, but it's not homes, it's gonna be
Yes,
cars. Yeah, but it's gonna be like a
correct.
miniature version of that maybe, yeah, and there's gonna have to be some, like,
Correct.
bailout programs for car dealerships probably.
Yeah. Like, at some point, people are not stupid. They're going to have to, they're going to look at a gas car and they're going to say, again, my hypothesis, they're going to look at a gas car and say, why would I ever buy or lease or rent something that is not going to be worth anything in like a 2 3 years time?
Yeah,
Because, A, the government's not incentivizing it. And then B, I can buy an alternative that runs way cheaper, and it's now I can buy it kind of. I might have to get on a waiting list, but why buy a new car when I can just wait maybe a couple of years and get my EV and just
yeah,
run my used car to the ground? I think repair shops, third party repair shops, are going to make a killing for the next 10 to 20 years as they keep these gas cars on the road. But a new
mhm,
gas car, to me, like, talk about, I don't give advice to barely anyone about investing their money.
yeah,
But me personally, you couldn't pay me enough money to start a new car dealership today.
yeah,
Impossible. I wouldn't
yeah,
do it under any
yeah.
circumstance. So, last question from Corey. Question: When does Emmett anticipate the compact car reveal? This year or 2024? Much closer to Mexico launch. How are you thinking about that, my friend?
Yeah, I think the compact reveal, they have to be very careful not to cannibalize Model 3. So we have this kind of new refurbished Model 3 about to come out, it sounds like. So that should help generate some sustainable demand for Model 3, because that's been the weakest link for a while now, is the Model 3. So this new version Tesla, which is probably being designed to also be self-driving, I would imagine, like primarily its function or something like a robotaxi function maybe, but also optional to be used as a self-driver car. But I would imagine they don't reveal that until 2025, when they're ready to like actually ship it. From Mexico and Austin at the same time, or wherever else they build it out of. So that's my thought, is they're not going to actually reveal it until it's like very close. Um, I could be wrong. Maybe Elon decides to reveal it later this year because it's such a different car, such a different form factor than the Model 3. He's not worried about it cannibalizing. But if there's any chance for it to cannibalize, if it's any, the Model 3 demand, I feel like they'll just hold off. What do you think?
It's all very dependent on the type of vehicle they're going to release. I think the Highland, sort of the refresh for Model 3 that's been rumored, I think that is going to create really good separation between the Y and the compact car. It's going to sort of carve its
Mhm.
own niche, is my estimation. It's going to be probably performance driven more than it is now, and it's going to give you something that the Y and the compact car just can't give you. I think if that is correct, then I don't think the timing of the launch is going to be as important, because or like when they show the car, because it should be differentiated enough. But the thing that keeps coming back to my mind is this thing is going to be start around $25,000 to $30,000, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be supremely affordable compared to the rest of Tesla's lineup, and and this is going to come on the heels of all the players I would estimate will go NACS, the Cybertruck being in the wild, FSD getting solved and operating. Like, all these things should be uh, part of the world, call it, when this thing is potentially announced. And so how would that not generate millions upon millions of reservations, right? And so that's the thing that Tesla has to balance, is when they release this car, it's going to garner so much attention that they're going to have a very long wait time. And is that going to dictate how and when they release the product? They could do like an Apple thing for the first time ever, where they're like, hey, our compact car, it starts at 25,000, order yours, you'll get yours in a month and a half.
Mhm.
But I highly doubt that's the case, because
Yeah.
manufacturing cars is very difficult,
They got the manufacturing
and
line set up, and they got to order the
the
Idra press
supply
or whatever.
chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then as soon as you start doing that preparation and you're talking to all the suppliers and everything, there's going to be a leak somewhere. So what I think
Yeah.
is going to happen for the first time in Tesla's history, this is my prediction, is that we're going to know about the compact car before Tesla announces the compact car. because
Hmm.
they're going to have to tap the supply chain. They're going to have to get all that stuff ready before they announce it, and there will be
Yeah.
leaks. So you know how
Yeah.
like now with the iPhone, everybody knows what it looks like before it gets announced because they
Yeah.
have to ramp up the supply chain. I think
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen with a compact car. Yeah,
Okay. It's very possible it could play out that way. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So we'll see.
we'll see.